Okay, let's continue on with the evening and excuse me, by calling the Board of Directors meeting to order. And they'll ask if there are any additional agenda items to be added to the agenda. Doug.
Yeah, just if I may, Mr. Chairman, I have a little plaque from the Turkey Point Mountain Bike Club that few of our members attended the other night, and I'm not sure if I could present that as part of the agenda.
Okay, let's do it right now, because if we don't do it now, I'll forget.
All right. Well, on Monday night, Councilman Ambassador, Board Member Van Passen, and Board Member Michelle and I attended the Turkey Point Mountain Bike Club's. I guess it would be a recognition dinner. Is that a safe?
Yeah, awards.
Awards. And as part of their program, they presented different plaques to parties that they bike on their land, and we are one of them. And it was a very good evening. I have the plaque here, and I'll give it to Judy. She can hang it in her office if she would like. But it's I'll pass it around, and you can take a look at it. But and I'm sure the other members might want to comment. But an interesting thing that I found at the presentations or the meeting that night is that they had a very good video by the group, and it was maybe 20 minutes long, that showed how they run their club, the things they do, and so forth. And I got thinking after, it might be a good thing to bring that same video presentation in to show the whole committee, being as we're, I guess, trying to work with them over the trails that we have on our land. So anyways, I'll leave that with you, Judy, but there's the plaque. You can hang that in your office. Okay. Thank you.
Do any of the other committee members that attended wish to something? Go to Chris.
I got another one for the agenda.
Okay, so another addition to the agenda. Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to add an item on the business arising from the minutes. The confirmation of the start time of the November 13th budget meeting.
Okay. Remind me when we get to that. Having seen no further additions, could someone move that the agenda as amended be approved? The Vice Chairman and seconded by Peter. All those in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. There is a provision for the declaration of pecuniary interest. If you have an interest any time, please declare. The minutes of the previous meeting were circulated. Would someone move that the minutes of the October 2nd, 2024 meeting be adopted? As circulated. The mover. Michael, seconded by David. Are there any errors or omissions, comments, or questions about the minutes? All those in favor? Opposed? It's adopted. Business arising from the previous minutes. Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The last meeting we had some discussion on the timing of the budget committee meeting, November 13th. The Norfolk County Council has a meeting beginning at 1. And I want to go forward a motion to confirm that we agreed that the November 13th budget meeting would start at 9 a.m.
Okay, I don't think we need a motion for that, but can everybody make a note of that? That the meeting, November 13th, that the motion, the chairman just can't dictate.
Well, because we took the meeting schedule by motion, we said we're gonna do it later.
And we'll not argue with Dan.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Well, do it not. You want to put up with me anymore?
Okay. There it is. I got help from all directions here. Would someone move that the Long Point Board of Directors approve the start time for the November 13th budget meeting be 9 a.m. Chris moves it, seconded by Stuart.
I have a comment.
Yes,
Oxford County Council has a meeting that exact day, starting at 9:30 AM. I will, I guess that just means I can't come to this meeting.
okay, that's unfortunate. All those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried. And make note, 9 o'clock. The 13th of November, budget meeting here. Okay, we're. Review of the Bacchus Museum Committee meeting minutes. Would someone move that the minutes of the Bacchus Museum Committee meeting, July 22nd? Be adopted separately. Seconded by Jim. Are there any questions? Comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Minutes are received, I guess. There's no correspondence that I can see. Planning department, section 28 regulations. Leanne, do you have anything to comment?
Not quick or not long, a quick update. Since the October Board of Directors meeting, we've approved 20 applications. And as always, this staff report being brought for your information, and the end of it is map showing where the watershed being material.
Does someone feel comfortable in moving that the report be received for information? Peter and Chris, any questions? Peter?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the first page, application 13924, what portion of the marina is being dredged? Is that just right off the boat ramps then, or?
It's 139. I'm trying to recall that application.
I know.
Oh, yeah, this is McDonald Marina. Sorry. Yes, so they're just,
At the mouth.
they're dredging the mouth, kind of where you would be marina.
Right off the boat ramp?
No, so the boat ramps are, I would say, further west. And then kind of the channels that all connect it going out into the bay.
Yeah.
That's the area.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Then we'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. The recording secret information. We go on to new business, and we're going to hear general manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I put some information in there regarding some applications that we have submitted for some additional work. There's funding that opened up under the Flood Hazard Identification and Mapping Program. Because of the timing, we have submitted the applications. You will see the applications come forward in the budget next week. So we asked for 3 projects, and they total 300,000, and we would get 50% dollars. So if successful, we'll be able to continue doing some of the flood hazard mapping in the watershed. Also, I wanted to update, we had told the board in October 2nd that there's a WECI project that was there was a delay getting the approval through M&R, but it did come through, and we issued the RFP. And this is putting a safety boom at the Norwich Dam. And the project was awarded to the company Equinox Hydro Construction Inc. And that approval was all brought forward to the board to authorize myself to do the RFPs and approve they within the budget. So that was under, we had $80,000 approved through the WECI funding. So that project is moving forward. The camping season closed, obviously, and I also wanted to give the board an update. I did update the chair and vice chair regarding the decoy museum. So I think it wasn't that long ago, Jim actually asked the question about the status of the decoy museum, and I said it had been canceled. Ironically enough, I was contacted by Mr. Tom Davidson, and he's interested in doing a relaunch of the project. Still willing to fund the upgrade of the room at the Bacchus Education Center, the Conservation Education Center, pay for the all the cabinetry and everything that's required in that room. So we're going to be engaging with him and looking at possibly downsizing what we started out with on a curation to be curated, looking possibly at 30-40 decoys and then build on that and focus more on the Long Point region and just a couple of carvers from the Toronto and some decorative carvers, one from Paris. So that's back on, and we are finally in the final stage of the project of the gallery. So we've signed off and they've gone for production to get all the panel displays, everything. So will be installed. I'm not sure it'll be installed by the end of the year, but we'll be able to do a nice launch in the spring of next year. And we're pretty excited to be at the final phases of that. And it already looks great. And there's a lot of things missing on the wall, but once the display panels get installed, it's going to be really nice. So wrapping that up, and the decoy museum would be a nice addition to that area, and I think would bring people to the center to see that in the mental, and it's going to bring the community together. So just wanted to get that update.
Any questions to the town manager? Jim?
Yeah, that makes me feel way better. And I know that they have a home. Thank you, Judy.
Thanks.
Shelley?
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate the campgrounds again. You've generated a surplus again this year, so that's wonderful that the campgrounds do so well. It's nice to see. Thank you.
Jim again?
Yeah, I have a question again for you. Dealing with the North Stamp, the safety tool, it says it includes an onshore and in-water anchors. Are they used all the time, or these have to be changed?
Would you like to speak to that, sir?
Thank you for the chair. It is a permanent public safety room. So that's what, well, if I'm understanding, there's the question, it will be staying there here. So
Year round?
also, yeah, yes, it is a permanent safety room. It will be there.
And for the cold weather,
Yes,
it's permanent.
it is permanent public safety room. Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions to Judy? Then motion to receive the report is in order. There's someone move. Michael moves it, Jim seconds it. Last chance for questions. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. Now we have the financial report for Aaron. Regard to the third quarter.
Thanks. For the Q3 financial report is for the fiscal year, up to and including September 30th of 2024. The consolidated statement of operations is attached as Appendix 1 on page 23 of the agenda package, followed by the departmental operating statement. The operating revenues of 5.45 million represented 86.1% of the annual budget, with expenditures of 4.23 million of the annual, representing 72.2% of the annual budget. This resulted in a surplus of 1.22 million for the year up to including September 30th. The year-to-date surplus is $33,967, less than the 2023 surplus of 1.25 million for the same period. For the planning department, user fees are of 161,000, $107 are down year over year from $195,486 in 2023. This represents a 17.6% decrease. Planning user fees are projected to come in 20% below the annual target for the budget. However, the watershed planning department is forecasted to remain on budget for fiscal 2024 due to offsetting decrease in expenditures. Camping revenues at the end of the third quarter totaled $2,058,961 in comparison with $1,998,925 in fiscal 2023. 455 seasonal campers were registered for the 2024 season with revenues of $1,356,396, exceeding the budget target for 2024 of $1,219,975. The campgrounds alone have generated a surplus of $650,560 for the fiscal year up to and including September 30th, 2024. For the fiscal year up to and including the end of the third quarter for the authority, we've generated a surplus of $1,219,975. This leaves us in a favorable position up to and including September 30th. And we expect to remain on budget and in a positive financial position going into the end of the year. If there's any questions from the board, we're glad to take them.
Through your chair to Aaron, if I recall correctly, we're talking about planning applications and fees for planning applications. Is there a restriction on that for 2024 that we couldn't increase that amount?
To this point, we have not received notification from
For 2025,
2025.
but 2024, there was a restriction.
There was a restriction.
That might have something to do with the fact that those numbers were not as favorable as what they might have been, and we have been allowed to look at education. So, although the volumes were good.
Yeah, our fees have been frozen for the last 2 years. We don't know anything about 2025 yet, but yeah, the numbers, even just like the permit numbers, not just the revenues, are also down. It's small too.
Okay, so thank you.
Are there any other questions? Michael.
Page 36, the capital summary sheet. So on the bottom there, we've been talking about administration office furniture and flooring upgrades. Is there any update with respect to that items? That's where we're at. I know we've been budgeting for it for several years.
Through the chair, we currently had a design done. And currently we have a staff member getting quotes. We have 3 or 4 quotes out right now. They're getting a quote on electrical and flooring. We're open to bring this together. We haven't hit the specific time as of yet, but it could take anywhere between 5 to 7 days. So we have to coordinate our timing, right? But it looks like it should be complete either end of this year or early 2025.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Any other questions? Peter?
I guess that whole project confuses me a little bit because we don't actually own the building. So that seems like a significant amount of money to put into a building that we don't actually own.
The chair, it is a significant investment in the buildings that we do not own. Currently, our office furniture is a mixed mash of furniture from the Old Tobacco Board, Township of Banff, various other organizations. Our lease that we are currently under is long-term in that it's 5 consecutive 5-year terms, and we don't have a intention of leaving. So I think the investment for staff, not only for cosmetic, but ergonomically, is good for the overall work environment.
That the board of directors received the third quarter financial report. It's information. It's all on carrying that. Stuart, seconded by Jim. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed, that motion is carried. And that takes us to the Teeterville Dam Class Environmental Assessment. Progress report. Second.
Thank you. Through the chair, staff has prepared Teeterville Dam Plus Environmental Assessment Progress Report and committee appointment. Here that there's information which outlines progress. I would like to provide one then, which is a notice of intent has been completed, distributed accordingly, and we are receiving responses. A good amount of progress process by now. Now staff is looking for board's approval and appointing a board member to the Community Liaison Committee of Teeterville Dam Class Environmental Assessment. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Before we get to the appointment, are there any questions on the report? See no questions. We need to appoint a committee member. Is anyone interested in sitting on the Teeterville Dam Class Environmental Assessment Community Liaison Committee? Michael?
Mr. Chair, it's in my ward, so I'd be pleased to sit on it. The community's been waiting a long time for this report to come forward.
Okay, I've written your name into the resolution in ink, so I can't change it. Then I'll read the resolution that the Long Point Region Conservation Board of Directors receives the Teeterville Dam Class Environmental Assessment Progress Report as information. And that the Board of Directors approves the appointment of Michael Columbus as a member of the Teeterville Dam Class Environmental Assessment Community Liaison Committee. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. All right, yeah, not a mover, second. Well, I just assumed that it would be obvious that somebody would.
For mind reading.
Kelly moves it, Julianne moves it, and Jim seconds it. I'm still wound up about having to read that whole, that's the longest committee name I think we've ever had. I put the Teeterville Dam Class Environmental Assessment Community Liaison Committee. Michael, good luck. It has been moved and seconded and already voted on, so I guess we can move to the next item, and that's the conservation land strategy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Help me out.
So, the first draft came to the board, and then we were required to do public consultation under the legislation. So that has been completed. And we had 15 responses with three written comments and one public information session. We held it for both strategies here, and we had 2 public members in attendance, and along with the board member Chris Van Passen. So we had some feedback, and on the second page of the report, we did incorporate a couple of the items that we received comments back on, and those were specific. You can find out on page 56 and 57. And so now we're just asking the board to consider approval of this final draft, and we are required to provide a copy to Ministry of Natural Resources and make it public best way we can, which will be on our website.
Okay, let's do it this way so we don't get it screwed up again. Can I have a mover and a seconder before we lay that the Long Point Board of Directors approves the final draft, the conservation land strategy, and that forwarded to where I said it for before to the Ministry of Natural Resources, and they'll make it available on the website as well. Tom moves it, seconded by Peter. Now, are there any questions or comments, Judy, or anybody else for that matter, on the strategy report process? All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. The next long report, Judy.
So, thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is, we're asking the board to approve the final draft watershed-based resource management strategy. This is another requirement under the Ontario Regulation 68621. And the board saw the first draft. We had to do public consultation on this also. And we had received 12 responses with 2 written comments. And we, as I said before, we had one public information session, which covered both strategies. So there was some housekeeping changes, and then the summary of changes are noted there in the report on the second page. And we'll just ask the board to consider this so we can send it to the ministry and also make it public.
Could I do it same way? There's a motion that the board approves the final draft of the watershed-based resource management strategy, that it be provided to the ministry and made available on the website. Little mover, Cheyenne, seconded by Michael. Other questions, comments? Yeah, board strategy, Doug?
Yes, thanks, Mr. Chairman. Judy, who did your staff put this together?
Yes, so this watershed-based resource management strategy, Lori Mitchell did a lot of the research, but there is a lot of staff input, and basically we did do it in-house with staff resources. So we're very happy to have it completed. It's a very large undertaking to do all the reports.
So this goes off to the ministry?
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. And then, let's see, where are we? Provincial policy statement update. Just when we think they have it right, they update them. Yeah, it's gonna tell us what the latest. We stuff those.
Yeah, so this is just basically staff report. Just as an update. So what was provincial policy statement is not provincial planning statement. So just letting the board know that it's currently in effect now. The natural hazards policies from the previous 2020 version have been largely preserved. And the conservation authorities are specifically mentioned twice, and we were previously not mentioned before, so just great. The first time is to encourage municipalities who are undertaking watershed planning to do so with the respective conservation authority. And secondarily, the planning authorities are to work with conservation authorities to identify and manage hazardous land. So those are kind of 2 clips out of the provincial planning statements that relate directly to conservation authorities and mention us to do kind of day-to-day management of lands associated with natural hazards. Also, just if you want to read the report, if you haven't already, kind of just again highlights our role as a conservation authority when it comes to planning act applications. So conservation authorities through all this maintain our responsibility to provide comments based on the natural hazards policies contained within the new PPS when circulated applications by needed. If you have any questions tonight about the process or do you future case, you know.
Any questions? Did someone feel comfortable in moving that they report we received this information? Stuart and Peter? Seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Received information. Next, we have the perform to appoint a member to the Bacchus Museum Committee. And the resolution is that the board of directors appoint Mary Charles as a community representative to the Bacchus Museum Committee. That's a recommendation. Someone would like to move that. Jim. Works. Tom? Any questions? All those in favor? Motion is carried. All right, Charles is now a member of the office. Closed session. Motion. Oh, wait, some point. Yes, sir, it's right here. That the Long Point Board of Directors does now enter into a closed session to discuss rights of subject to solicitor client for. Why? One, second by Jim, in favor. He's carried. Session. Good to go. We're now in open session. And at the end of the agenda, please note that the next meeting is a budget meeting on November 13th, starting at 9 o'clock. And then the next board of directors meeting is in December 4th at 6:30. There's a few events in between that we're supposed to reply to, whether you can go to or not.
Christmas dinner, November 28th. And Dana's time on it's on December 12th.
Good. If you haven't responded, please do so we can plan accordingly. And with that having been said, is there anything else any board member wishes to bring before the board? Then I will declare the meeting adjourned.